Is WWE going back to TV-14? That's the question a lot of fans have been having, especially after last night. Because on Raw last night, there were parts of it, a lot of it I should say, that felt very attitude-like, or attitude era-like. And pretty much you can also mix in a little bit of ruthless aggression era-like. But the question obviously is, even after last night and over the past several weeks, the question obviously is, is WWE heading back in that direction of TV-14? Because we're starting to see it become more edgier, more risque, more attitude, ruthless aggression era like. We're starting to see, superstars, feel more looser on the mic and be able to make things more, feel more believable and everything, by doing work shoots or legit shoots, and everything. This is a good question that fans have, should have the right and do have the right, I should say, to ask. Is WWE, building itself back to the TV-14, rating? And I would have to say that yes, it does feel like that. It does feel like WWE, is heading back in that direction. It does feel like that. But are they? Are they heading back in that direction? Even though it feels like that. Well, I would say that right now it feels like we're getting, as I alluded to, little, we're getting, well, I wouldn't say little, I would say we're getting major, if not appetite size increments of the attitude era, of the ruthless aggression era. We're getting increments of things being edgier, more violent, more believable, more risque, more loose, if you will. We're getting those increments, if you will, as time goes on throughout the rest of the year, and as we build towards, Raw's debut on Netflix in 2025. But just because we're building towards it, and it feels like that's going to be the end goal, that the first Raw on Netflix will be TV-14, maybe even TVMA, it doesn't mean we're going to totally be there, right away, or it doesn't mean that might last, as the current rating when Raw goes to Netflix in 2025. It doesn't feel, just because it feels like we're heading in that direction, and it, I definitely feel that it's a strong case to believe that. It doesn't mean it won't last long, because we're in a day and age, as much as I hate to say this, we are in a day and age where if you do and say just the slightest thing that many of these splinter groups, these, lefties, these, SJW, council culture, woke groups find insulting, then that TVMA, that TV-14 rating that WWE is, looking like they're heading back towards in time for the debut on Netflix, that TV-14 TVMA rating will be gone. And we'll be back to a TV PG product. And why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because again, as I mentioned, we are in a time and in a place where, even if WWE doesn't mean any harm, if they approve of an angle in a storyline, where something happens, that might seem a little risky, you're gonna have groups, like I say, the left wings, the woke groups, the council cultures, the SJWs, that will be quick to get on it and say, no, WWE has to be canceled. This is going too far. And you know what's going to happen? WWE is going to go back to TV PG. That's what's going to happen. Even if it's on Netflix, that's what's going to happen. Because you got to remember, even if they jump over to the streaming service, they still have major sponsors to answer to. They have major sponsors to answer to. And you think those sponsors, outside of Logan Paul's Prime Energy drink, you think those other major sponsors are going to want to be associated with a company that's being called out for letting this happen or letting this person say this or do this? No. And WWE is not going to want to lose money. TKO is not going to want to lose money because of that. So WWE, they've got to be careful when they go to Netflix. Because just because they're going to be able to be a little bit more edgier, be back to that TV-14 like atmosphere and everything, and be able to be more, I guess you can say, looser than they've ever been, just because they'll be able to do that once more, and it's something that fans have been wanting for a long time, and I'm sure even the superstars have been wanting, they have to be very careful. Because if they slip up just once, then that TV-14 rating that it looks like they're heading back towards, it's going to be X-nayed. It's going to be X-nayed, and it'll be back to a TV PG product. It will be. And there'll be no doubt that even someone like The Rock, who's trying to help out in his own way, along with Triple H and all of them, to kind of make the product more believable, more edgier, more like it used to be, like when they wrestled, not even The Rock will be able to stop it from happening. And The Rock, for all we know, could be, I wouldn't say banned, but he could be prohibited from being on WWE television, even if he's part of the TKO board, until he learns to adhere to the more PG, TV PG environment, and and that's going to be unfortunately something that, he's going to have to, deal with. It's going to be something he's going to have to unfortunately deal with over time. He is. That's something he's going to have to unfortunately deal with. Now, do I think under the right leadership of Triple H, Nick Khan and The Rock and even Mark Shapiro, do I think they'd be able to do a TV-14 rating without risking, the sponsors coming after them? Yeah, I do. I think they do have an opportunity, a strong chance, to make sure they, are able to keep the TV-14 rating if that's what they're heading towards, as they get closer to debut on Netflix. Yeah, I think they have a strong enough leadership now to where they can work around that. You'll still get your TV-14 rated, WWE Raw, and maybe even SmackDown and NXT to an extent. But, I think they'll be able to find a way to work around that. But again, they're going to have to be careful. They're going to have to be very careful about what they allow to be, shown, allowed to be said. They got to be very careful about what angles they're going to allow to happen and stories to be told, because if they slip, again, like I said, if they slip up just once, then that's pretty much it for them. The fans, the superstars, can kiss that TV-14 freedom they are now having, that they've been building back towards. They can kiss that goodbye. So they got to be careful. They have to be careful as they head towards this deal with Netflix, because if not, having that TV-14, maybe to an extent TVMA like freedom, it's pretty much going to be out the door. It's going to be out the window, before they know it, if they cross the line or something happens that, these groups nowadays from council culture, woke, SJW, left-wingers, find, too insulting. And let's be real here too. Let's be real. There's a lot of these, sponsors, publicly traded sponsors, that have members of those groups as a part of them. So WWE, and I think they will, under the right leadership of Shapiro, Khan, Rock, and Triple H, I think they'll be able to work around that and, be able to allow the TV-14 rating to be resurrected, without any controversial cause for trouble in the future. I think they'll be able to work around that. And by doing so, it's going to be a benefit for not just the fans, but for the superstars in total as well, especially someone like a CM Punk and a Becky Lynch. But that's just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on WWE possibly heading back to TV-14. Do you believe